and welcome back, dear students, to another session of online class in English language. Last class, we have already learned the conversion of active voice or the transformation of the sentences from active voice into the passive voice. We will just revise the rules which we have already come across in our previous class. When the given statement in the active voice is in simple present tense, in order to convert that sentence into passive voice, we make use of is, am, are plus verb in its third form. When the statement given is in present continuous, we make use of is being, am being, and are being or are being plus the past participle form of the verb. When the given statement is in present perfect, the rule to be applied in order to convert active voice into passive voice is had been plus the past participle form of the verb. And in present perfect continuous tense, we already know that the statement cannot be converted into the passive voice. After that, we moved into the past tense. When the given statement in the active voice is in simple past, we make use of was or were plus verb in its third form. Whereas, when the statement given is in past continuous, we make use of was being or were being plus past participle form of the verb. When the given statement in active voice is in past perfect, the rule to be applied is had been plus third form of the verb. That is what we have seen in the last class. And today we will be proceeding to the next or we will be continuing to the other rules. Today, first we will deal with when the given statement in the active voice sentence is in future tense, how to convert such kind of sentences into the passive form. Let us begin with simple future. When the given statement in the active voice is in simple future, the rule to be applied in order to convert that statement into the passive voice is will be or shall be plus past participle form of the verb. Will be or shall be plus verb in its third form. Let's see an example. We shall serve you in every way. We shall serve you in every way. Whom shall we serve in every way? We shall serve you. So we have the object here as you. And naturally, object of the active voice turned to be subject in the passive voice. So therefore, our answer is you will be served by us in every way. You will be served by us in every way. Now, in the statement given, it is we shall, whereas in the answer we made use of will in the place of shall. What is the reason behind it? To understand that, we should know the rules related to we should know where to use will and where to use shall. All of us know will as well as shall is used to indicate an action is in the future sense. That's what we normally, or that is the way we make use of will or shall in order to indicate the action is a future action. Let's see where to use will and where to use shall. It depends on the usage, or it depends on the personal pronouns. When the subject is the personal pronoun of first person, we have to make use of shall together with the sentence. If the subject is the personal pronoun of first person, we make use of shall, whereas if the subject is second or the third person, if the subject is the personal pronoun of second person or the personal pronoun of third person, we have to make use of will and not shall. That is why we made use of shall here, because the subject was we the personal pronoun of first person plural. So when the personal pronoun was the personal pronoun of first person, we made use of shall, and here it turned to be will, because the subject over here is you, which is the personal pronoun of second person. With the personal pronoun of second person as well as third person, we make use of will and not shall. But there is an exception to this rule. The rule that we already saw is when the personal pronoun of first person is the subject, we make use of shall, whereas the personal pronoun of second person as well as the third person is the subject, we make use of will in the place of shall. That's what we saw the general rule. But the exception to this rule is if the given statement is an imperative statement. We already know what an imperative sentence is. An imperative sentence is a sentence which asks for a command, a request, order, pleading, etc. If the statement is such a kind of sentence, that is an imperative sentence, if the statement is an imperative statement, the rule is just opposite, which means we make use of will where the subject is the personal pronoun of a first person, and we make use of shall when the subject is second person as well as the third person. I suppose the rule is clear. The main rule we already saw that we make use of shall when the subject is the personal pronoun of a first person, and we make use of will when the subject is the personal pronoun of second person or the third person. And the exception to this rule is when the statement is an imperative statement. With related to the imperative statement, we make use of will together with the subject when the subject is a personal pronoun of a first person, and we make use of shall when the personal pronoun of second person as well as third person is used as the subject. And that's the reason we have shall here as the auxiliary verb together with the subject we, which is the personal pronoun of a first person, and we made use of will because the subject over here is you, which is the personal pronoun of a second person. Now let us move on to the next example. They will help us with money. Whom will they help? They will help us. So us is the object here. So that object we have to change into the form of subject. So therefore, we shall be helped with money by them. So when the statement is in simple future, the rule to be applied is will be or shall be plus the past participle form of the verb. So we have they will help us with the money. Will plus base form of the verb, which very clearly indicate the given statement is in simple future. And therefore we have to apply the rule will be or shall be. In the question we saw they will. Subject is the personal pronoun of third person. So therefore will is used together with it. Whereas when we transformed the sentence into the passive form, subject is we, which is the personal pronoun of first person. And when the subject is a personal pronoun of first person, we have to make use of shall and not will. So therefore our answer will be, we shall be helped with money by them. We shall be helped with money by them. Hope you are clear of the rules when the statement given in active voice is in simple future. And future continuous, it cannot be converted into passive voice. If the statement is in future continuous, we will not be able to convert such kind of sentence into passive voice at all. So the next rule is future perfect. When the given statement is in future perfect, the rule to be followed is will have been or shall have been plus the past participle form of the verb. Will have been or shall have been plus verb in its third form. So let us move on. The king will have passed the order. Will have plus third form of the verb. Will have or shall have plus verb in its third form. It indicates the given statement is in future perfect. And when the statement is in future perfect, the rule to be applied to convert them into passive voice is will have been or shall have been plus past participle form of the verb. First of all, let us find out the object in the given statement. The king will have passed the order. What will have the king passed? The king will have passed the order. So the order is the object in the given active voice statement. That turns to be the subject in the passive voice, that is the order, and immediately after that we make use of the verb form will have been passed by the king. So our answer will be the order will have been passed by the king. Let's move on to one more example. They will have chosen him leader. They will have plus verb in its third form, which very clearly indicate the given statement is in a future perfect. And when the statement is in future perfect, the rule to be applied to convert the statement into passive voice is will have been or shall have been plus the past participle form of the verb. So first of all, let us find out what the object of the statement given here. They will have chosen him leader. Whom will have they chosen leader? They will have chosen him as the leader. So the object in the given statement is him. So the answer is he. The subject, object of the active voice turned to be the subject here in the passive voice. He will have been. will have been chosen. So the given statement in the active voice is in future perfect. The rule to be applied is will have been or shall have been plus verb in its third form. The answer will be he will have been chosen leader by them. We have already completed the transformation of active voice into passive voice with the different tense forms. Now we will move to the next rules. Let's see the next important rule, that is with related to the auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs. Let's move on to the rule given here. When the verb in the active voice is an auxiliary verb, when the verb in the active voice is a helping verb, an auxiliary verb such as can, may, might, could, should, would, must, etc., be and past participle is added to the verb in the passive voice. We have to add be plus third form of the verb. That's what we have already seen from the beginning. In the passive voice, verb will be always in its past participle form. So before the past participle form, together with the auxiliary verb, we will be just adding be. That is what the rule related to when the statement is an auxiliary verb. When the statement given is with an auxiliary verb. Let's see the example. The first example is Ram can write a letter. Ram can write a letter. We have the auxiliary verb can. So together with the auxiliary verb can, we will be adding be and we make use of the third form of the verb. That is what the simple rule is. So let's see what our answer is. Ram can write a letter. What can Ram write? Ram can write a letter. So our object here in the active voice is a letter. That turned to be the subject over here in the passive voice. A letter. Make use of the auxiliary verb and immediately after the auxiliary verb add be and the past participle form of the verbs. So the answer is a letter can be written by Ram. So see one more example. You must do the job. You must do the job. We have the auxiliary verb must here. What must you do? You must do the job. So the job is the object that turns to be the subject over here in the passive voice. The job, immediately after that make use of the auxiliary verb, add be together with the auxiliary verb and make use of the third form of the verb, past participle form of the verb. Our answer is the job must be done by you. That's what the rule related to when the verb in the active voice is an auxiliary verb. Now the next part is when the given statement is an imperative statement, how to convert the statement into passive voice. Let's see the rule. When the sentence in the active voice is an imperative sentence, when the sentence in the active voice is an imperative sentence, be it a command, an order, a request, pleading, begging, whatever it is, let be is used in the passive form of the sentence if the sentence has to remain imperative. If we have to remain the passive voice in the same imperative sense itself, we will have to make use of let be. Not one point, let be is not written together. After let, a few dots are placed. Let few dots be. So that is what one of the rules is. Which means an imperative statement can be converted into passive voice in two different ways. If we have to make use of the passive voice sentence in the imperative structure itself, you have to make use of let be, otherwise should be can be used. If not, if you don't want to make use of the statement in the imperative sense itself in the passive voice, you will be making use of should be. Point to be noted here, should be is written together. There are no dots in between. Whereas when let be was used, we saw that a few dots were placed in between let and be. Such kind of dots are not used when you make use of should be. Let me repeat the rule. We have already seen when the given statement in the active voice is an imperative statement, the active voice sentence can be converted into the passive voice in two different ways. One of the ways is if you wanted to make use of the passive voice in the same imperative mode itself, you will be making use of let be. If not, If you do not want to make use of the statement in the imperative sense itself, you will be making use of should be. Let's move on with the example. Shut the door. What should be shut? The door. So the door is the object over here in the given statement. We can convert this imperative sentence into passive voice in two different ways. One of the ways by making use of let be, let few dots and be. Let's see first that part. So in that case, the sentence will remain in the imperative form or the imperative mode itself. So the sentence must begin with the let itself. Let. Immediately after let, we make use of the object of the active voice, that is the door here in the given statement. So let the door be shut. Let, object of the active voice, that turns to be the subject in the passive voice, and immediately after that be. The rule to be applied is let be. So let the door be shut. Past participle form of the verb. That is one of the ways to convert active voice sentence into passive voice when the given statement is an imperative statement. Now let's see the next method. So we make use of the question over here is shut the door. We begin the statement as the rule we have already studied, that is object of the active voice turned to be the subject here in the passive voice. So we begin with the subject here. So therefore the answer will be the door. Immediately after the subject, we make use of should be, auxiliary verb plus be, and the third form of the verb, past participle form of the verb. That's the way to convert when the given statement in the active voice is an imperative sentence. Two ways it can be converted into passive form. Students, you will have to learn both these rules. Normally in the examination, the reason is, normally in the examination, they give the starting words. Suppose they give the starting word as let. You should know how to give the answer. And sometimes they may give the door as the starting word. So that case also you should know what the answer for this particular question is. So therefore learn both the rules. That's what related to the imperative sentences. Now let us move on to the next rule. That is when the given statement in the active voice is an interrogative statement. You know what an interrogative statement is? A statement that asks a question is called an interrogative statement. Let's see the rule to be applied when the statement in the active voice is an interrogative statement. The interrogative form of the sentence is always maintained. The question form, the question mode remains in the question form itself, which means in the normal statements, you know that we make use of the subject in the beginning, then verb or the auxiliary verb and the rest of the sentence. Whereas when the statement is an interrogative statement, make use of the verb or the auxiliary verb before the subject, and that structure has to be maintained. That is what this particular rule is. Interrogative form of the sentence is always maintained. The same interrogative forms to be maintained, which means the auxiliary verb or the verb will be before the subject, and at the end there will be a question mark. And in the passive voice also we will be placing the question mark. The reason is the interrogative structure has to be maintained exactly as it is. Let's see an example here. Has she taken a decision? The normal statement is she has taken a decision. That is what the normal statement or the declarative statement is, sentence is. And when that is changed into an interrogative statement, auxiliary verb is placed before has, then the subject. Has she taken a decision? So the given statement over here is has plus third form of the verb. Has or have plus third form of the verb means the given statement is in the present perfect. But it is an interrogative sentence. So let's see what is supposed to be done. Has a decision. Here the object is a decision. Has she taken a decision? What has she taken? A decision. So a decision turned to be the object here. And being an interrogative statement, before the subject we make use of the auxiliary verb. So therefore our answer is has a decision been taken by her. The statement being present perfect, has been or have been plus past participle form of the verb. Therefore, the answer is, has a decision been taken by her? Always remember, in interrogative statements, when the statement in the active voice is an interrogative statement, the same form, interrogative form, has to be maintained exactly as it is, which means the auxiliary verb or the verb, the main verb, what is supposed to be there in the statement, that has to be used before the subject. So the same structure has to be followed when you convert the active voice sentence into passive voice form. Let's see one more example. Do cats eat mice? Do cats eat mice? We have the base form of the verb here, which very clearly indicate the given statement is in simple present. And when the statement is in simple present, the rule to be applied is, are plus verb in its past participle form. So we have the object here as mice. Since it is an interrogative statement, auxiliary verb will be used before the subject. And mice being plural, we made use of the auxiliary verb are. So are mice eaten by cats? Once again, let us move on to the rule here. The rule is exactly the same, whatever we had seen in the previous class. Exactly the same. All these while the rules we were going through, the same rule will be applied when the statement is an interrogative statement. The only point to be remembered is the interrogative form of the sentence is always maintained, which means auxiliary verb will be placed before the subject. That's the only point to be remembered when you convert an active voice sentence into passive voice when the given statement is an interrogative statement. And since we maintain the interrogative form exactly as it is, we have to place a question mark by the end of the statement, which means in the passive voice also question mark is compulsory. The reason is it is mandatory. The reason is we maintain the same form of interrogative statement exactly as it is when the statement is converted into passive voice. I apologize, dear students. In my examples here, we have not placed the question marks. These statements given over here in the passive voice is a wrong statement. It's a mistake. Please rectify that. In the passive voice also, I apologize. In the passive voice also, when you convert the statement into the passive voice also, question mark is compulsory, and the reason is the interrogative form of the statement has to be maintained exactly as it is. I'll rectify it now itself. Yes, students, I have already rectified my answer. So the answer will be like this. Has a decision been taken by her? Question mark. Question mark is compulsory. Please do place the question mark because we are maintaining the same interrogative form when we convert the active voice sentence into passive voice. And the same rule is applied here too. Do cats eat mice? Question mark. Are mice eaten by cats? Question mark. It is mandatory to place the question mark. Council doesn't give you any mark at all if you do not place the question mark. There is no question of half marks over there in doers directed questions. Either the students get the complete mark or they do not get any mark at all. If you forget to place the question mark, as I have already forgotten, in your examination they won't consider it at all and you will be getting 0 mark if you do not place the question mark after converting the statement into passive voice. If you are clear of the rules related to the conversion of active voice into passive voice when the given statement is an interrogative statement, let's move on to the next part. The next part is transitive verbs having 2 objects. Sometimes it can happen when the statement given over there, when a transitive verb has 2 objects in the active voice, a statement can have 2 objects. Once again, when a transitive verb has 2 objects in the passive voice, either the direct object or the indirect object may become the subject in the passive voice. You can make use of either direct object as the subject in the passive voice or the indirect object as the subject over there in the passive voice, which means you can have 2 answers when you have 2 objects in the question given. Let's see the example. I gave Rita a pen. I gave Rita a pen. We have 2 objects here. Whom did I give the pen? Gave the pen to Rita. So indirect object as a person. What did I give to Rita? I gave a pen. So we have two objects here, one indirect object and one direct object. When you convert such kind of sentence into passive voice, you can begin the answer either with the direct object or with the indirect object. That's what the answer given here. I gave Rita a pen. First I started the sentence with the indirect object, that is Rita. So Rita was given a pen by me. Rita was given a pen. Here again A is missing. Rita was given a pen by me. And the next answer is a pen was given to Rita by me. So we have converted the statement into two different ways. One beginning with the indirect object and the another one starting with the direct object, and both the answers are exactly the right answers. You will have to learn both, as I have already indicated you. The council will give you only the starting word. They give the active voice sentence and they give the starting word. So sometimes your answer, starting word in the answer must be Rita or it can be a pen. So you will have to know both these answers. We have almost completed the conversion of the rules related to the conversion or the transformation of active voice into the passive voice. Now we will see the same rule has to be applied when to convert the statement from passive to the active voice, which means if you see in a statement is, am, are plus the third form of the verb is used, naturally you understand that the statement given over there is in passive voice. So that sentence has to be converted into simple present, because we make use of is, am, are plus past participle form of the verb when the given statement in the active voice is in simple present. In the same way, if we see in a statement is being, am being, are being plus the third form of the verb, we understand that that statement has to be converted into present continuous. So the same rule to be applied to convert the statement from passive voice to active voice. Sometimes it can happen the doer of the action may not be mentioned in the statement over there in the passive voice. What have we to do then? So let's see the rule here. When the doer of the action is not mentioned, when the doer of the action is not mentioned in the passive voice, some passive voice sentences, the doer of the action may not be mentioned, it must be supplied in the active voice as shown below. But it must be supplied in the active voice. You will have to supply it in the active voice in the way as it is given below. Let's see. My wallet has been stolen. When you say my wallet has been stolen, certainly it must be stolen by someone. So the object someone is not mentioned over there in the passive voice statement there. So you have to make use of it when you convert that sentence into active voice. So it begins with someone. My wallet has been stolen by someone. It's supposed to be by someone. So we make that someone, which is the object over there in the passive voice, as the subject here in the active voice. So, and it is has been or have been plus third form of the verb. Very clearly it indicates that the given statement has to be converted into present perfect. So the answer is someone has stolen my wallet. In the same way, I was obliged to leave. I was forced to leave, maybe because of the circumstance. So let's see, it's supposed to be I was obliged to leave by the circumstance. That is what is supposed to be the complete statement, but by the circumstance is not mentioned there. But when you convert that statement into active voice, we have to make use of it. So answer will be circumstances obliged me to leave. We have already completed all the rules related to transformation of active voice into passive voice. Completed everything. And a few homeworks are uploaded in our school website. Please go through it. Thank you. Thank you, dear students.